Hi, my name is Michaela Berment, and I chose whales from my marine ecology project. Some background information on the biology is the whales have evolved from this streamlined shape, and they also lost their external hind limbs, but they still have their flippers in the back. They also had these forelimbs that became flippers in the front as well, and their nostrils became blowholes. Another thing that changed was their lungs and circulatory system. This changed so they can adapt to the amount of time they were spending underwater. Now, for occurrence, the first couple of whales appeared 50 million years ago, which was a pretty long time. So they're almost as old as dinosaurs. They basically are dinosaurs of the ocean. And here are some unique features. As you can see on the slide, they have their tail flukes in the back, and generally black, may have some white patches, but this is unique to the species. They also have short white flippers, some are long. They don't have a dorsal fin, but dolphins do. They also have a large rounded body and a hardly arched mouth, also with patterns of celluloids unique to the individuals. Some other things are they are known to be complex singers. They sing complex songs in the winter breeding areas, so they can get to know, well, I would say get to know each other, so they can breed. They are also known to be massive marine mammals. They said the blue whale is the largest animal that has ever lived and also the largest whale species. They grow to 90 or more feet, and they weigh as much as 24 elephants, which is the equivalent to more than 330,000 pounds, which is pretty heavy and pretty scary to be under in real life. They are also long-living creatures. A certain species called the killer whales, which is a toothed whale found worldwide, can live more than 100 years. Another species, a bowhead whale, which is a baleen whale in the Arctic, can live more than 200 years. Whales are also known to be social, especially killer whales. They often travel in groups and are heavily family focused or centered on the mother. Whales are also known to be canaries of the sea. Beluga whales have flexible necks, which allows them to move their heads in different ways. They also have complex communication with whistles, clicks, and chirps. That gives them the nickname canaries of the sea. A long annual migrations that is also known to the whales. They travel about 10,000 miles round trip. That's like going from across America a couple times, because across is only 3,000. So imagine 10,000. They also gather small organisms, especially the North Atlantic right whales. They gather small organisms near the water surface and strains the seawater. This is for their surface feeding. And they use their long baleen plates. But the surface feeding and their buoyancy makes them vulnerable to collisions, which I'll talk on more in the slides. Another unique thing they have is oil in their head. The sperm whale species almost was driven into extinction by their commercial whales, whalers that wanted the whale's blubber and the neck oil from their spermaceti organ. This is found in their massive head. Their spermaceti organ is a part that helps in their echolocation. Now, for respective habitats, they're known to be in temperate oceans and tropical waters around the equators, as well as freezing Arctic oceans and Antarctic oceans. Some species can be also found in the seas, like the North Sea and the Mediterranean. Now, for human impact. I said before, commercial whaling. This is still prevalent in several countries, unfortunately. You would think that it would be over by now, but sadly it's not. Some people use it for their local consumption, and people still use whale blubber, cartilage, and oil for health supplements and pharmaceutics. Whale meat surprisingly also appears in some pet food and also traditional dishes. Another impact that humans have are these vessel strikes. That vessel strikes is basically a collision between boats and marine animals. This can happen when the animals are underwater and they don't notice the boat or vessel that's coming by, and the vessel cannot always detect them, so they end up colliding. Another thing from the vessels is that their noise can disrupt whale communication, making them confused or worried or nervous because of that disconnect. Strikes can also injure or kill these poor marine animals, not just whales, but the bigger whales can also damage the vessels. Another impact, entanglement, as seen on the slide. Large whales can become entangled in fishing gear, chains, lines, and ropes. This causes injuries and infections. These injuries and infections is how they can die from that. Just simply getting caught up in the line or fishing gear, and those injuries and infections hurts them where they can't swim or they can't reach the surface, and now they have no way to save themselves. As like I said, they have difficulty in feeding and resurfacing. Some whales can free themselves, but others carry the gear for a long time, and this leads to their starvation or, unfortunately, drowning. Lastly, marine debris. Large whales are known to frequently consume marine debris, and this is very fatal to them. Debris can include metal, glass, wood, plastics, and abandoned fishing gear. Plastic is the most commonly ingested, and they can also ingest microplastics indirectly through prey like krill. That's why we have to attempt to keep our oceans clean so it doesn't hurt our animals, big or small. And finally, climate change. Climate change really affects the whales in the Arctic and Antarctic areas, because the other whales, they can adapt easier to these fluctuating levels of heat and cool. However, the ones in the Arctic and Antarctic need the cold areas. So this gives them a less available habitat for several cetacean species, and they're unable to move into colder water, acidification of oceans as they absorb growing quantities of CO2, And there's also an increased susceptibility of citizens to diseases. There's also a lot of reduced reproductive success, which isn't good because they aren't reproducing any more babies, which means their species can go extinct. And their body conditions aren't doing well because they could be dying off because all the ice is melting and the water is getting hotter. And that means their survival rates are going even further down. But that was the end. These are my resources and these are my photo resources. Thank you for watching.